Yeah, I'm jealous. Not of cars or houses or Instagram vacations. I'm jealous of people who wake up without pain, people who go for a run without planning their entire week around recovery, people who sleep through the night, people who don't weigh every single movement like it's a chess move that could cost them the next 3 days. And you know what? I'm done pretending I'm not. I'm done smiling through it. I'm done acting like it's fine when someone tells me about their morning workout routine like it's no big deal because for them, it isn't. And that's the point. Welcome back to Painfully Real. I'm Josh, and this is the podcast where we say what chronic pain patients are thinking but are too afraid to admit out loud. Today, we're going somewhere most people won't dare to go. We're talking about jealousy, not the petty kind, not the I want what you have materialistic garbage. I'm talking about raw, visceral, survival jealousy, the kind that makes you want to cry when you see someone stretch in the morning, the kind that makes you bitter when your friend casually mentions they slept like a baby. And yeah, it's real. It's real for anyone who lives in chronic pain. So let's stop pretending it's not happening and actually talk about it. I remember the exact moment envy first hit me. I was sitting on a park bench because standing too long wasn't an option anymore, and I was watching someone jog, just running, smooth stride, ponytail bouncing, smiling even, like running was fun, and I wanted to scream and cry at the same time. How could something that used to be so simple for me, something I never even thought about, feel like watching someone perform magic? How could it feel so effortless to them and be an absolute nightmare for me? I sat there and I felt this wave of emotion I couldn't name at first. It wasn't anger exactly. It wasn't sadness. It was deeper. It was envy mixed with grief, mixed with rage, mixed with longing. Or think about this, watching someone bend over to tie their shoes without a second thought, without bracing themselves, without mentally preparing for the pain that might shoot up their back or down their leg. Or seeing someone stretch in bed in the morning, arms over their head, back arching, and not wince, not calculate, not immediately regret it. Or hearing someone say, I slept through the night, and realizing you can't remember the last time you did that, the last time your body let you rest without waking you up to remind you it's broken. It's subtle at first, that envy. You don't even recognize it for what it is. You think, oh, I'm just having a bad day, or I'm just tired, or I'm just being negative. But then it grows. It starts whispering in your head constantly. Why them and not me? What did I do to deserve this? Why do they get to live freely while I'm trapped in this body? And the worst part, you start looking for it. You start noticing every tiny thing healthy people do without thinking, the way they stand, the way they move, the way they exist in their bodies like it's not a war zone. Here's the thing about jealousy when you have chronic pain, it comes with a side of guilt and shame, a heaping portion of shame, because you know logically that it's petty. You know these people didn't choose to be healthy any more than you chose to be in pain. You know it's not their fault. You know being jealous doesn't change anything, and yet it's still there, eating at you, making you feel like a terrible person. But here's what I realize, this isn't petty jealousy. This is grief disguised as envy. You're not jealous of their life, you're grieving yours. You're mourning the person you used to be, the life you thought you'd have, the future you planned that got ripped away when pain moved in permanently. You feel bitter, frustrated, angry, maybe even resentful. And those feelings are valid, they're human, they're survival. I'll admit it. There were times I genuinely hated people who could move freely. I hated watching them dance at weddings. I hated seeing them hike mountains. I hated hearing them complain about being so sore after a workout, knowing they'd be fine in 2 days while I'd been in agony for 2 years. That's the raw truth, and I spent so much time pretending it wasn't there, pretending I was above those feelings that it almost destroyed me. Because when you suppress jealousy, when you bury it and call yourself a bad person for feeling it, it doesn't go away. It festers, it turns into bitterness, it turns into isolation, it turns into this wall between you and everyone else. So I stopped pretending. I admitted it. I said it out loud. I am jealous. I am angry. I am grieving what I lost. And you know what? That honesty was the first step toward actually dealing with it. The worst part about this jealousy, it's everywhere. It's triggered by everyone: family, friends, strangers, people who love you, people who don't even know you exist. A casual comment like, my God, I ran 5 miles today and I'm exhausted, can feel like someone just poured salt on an open wound. Or when someone says, you should try yoga, it'll help with your pain, as if you haven't tried everything, as if their 20-minute YouTube yoga session is the secret cure doctors missed. Or when people post their gym selfies, their hiking photos, their Sunday morning run updates, and you're sitting there, unable to walk to the mailbox without planning it like a military operation. Here's what people don't understand: that resentment isn't evil, it's not malicious, it's a survival instinct. You're watching people live the life your body refuses to give you. You're watching people take for granted the exact things you'd give anything to have back. That's trauma, that's reality. And it's not just strangers or acquaintances. Sometimes it's your own family. Your sibling mentions their weekend plans: kayaking, camping, dancing at a concert, and you feel that familiar ache, not because you don't want them to be happy, but because you can't help but remember when you could do those things too. Your friends stop inviting you to things because you've said no so many times. And part of you is relieved because you couldn't go anyway. But part of you is devastated because now you're watching their lives continue without you. Your partner moves through the world effortlessly and you love them, but sometimes you resent them too because they can't understand. They try, but they don't live in your skin. They don't know what it's like. And the guilt of resenting people you love, that's a whole other layer of hell. But here's what I want you to hear: feeling this doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you human. It makes you someone who's dealing with something impossibly hard. Eventually, I hit a breaking point. I realized I had two choices. I could either let jealousy fester and rot me from the inside out, or I could turn it into fuel. So I made a decision. Instead of thinking, why them and not me? I started asking, what does their life show me about what I want in my own way? Because here's the thing: I don't actually want their life. I want my own version of freedom. When I saw someone running, I stopped thinking, I'll never run again. I started thinking, what does movement look like for me? What does freedom look like in my body? Maybe I can't run, but maybe I can walk. Maybe I can swim. Maybe I can dance in my living room for 30 seconds before I need to sit down. And you know what? That counts. I started chasing my version of normal, not theirs, not what society says I should be able to do, mine. I take small victories now and I celebrate them like Olympic gold medals, because they are. Did I shower today without needing a 2-hour nap afterward? Victory. Did I make dinner standing up? Victory. Did I go to the grocery store and only need one rest day instead of 3? Victory. Those might sound small to someone who doesn't live with pain, but to me, they're everything. And here's what's wild. Once I started reframing jealousy as information, as a compass pointing me toward what I value, it lost its power over me. I'm not saying the jealousy disappeared completely. It didn't. But it became something I could work with instead of something that was destroying me. I started asking, what am I really mourning? What do I really want? And what's my version of that? Sometimes the answer is, I want less pain. And that's valid. Sometimes there's no reframe. Sometimes it just sucks. But other times the answer is, I want connection. I want purpose. I want to feel alive. And those things, I can create those in my own way. So here's where I've landed. I'm not jealous of your life. I'm jealous of your freedom. And I'm working every day to create my own version of that freedom. Freedom doesn't have to mean running marathons or climbing mountains. Freedom can mean taking a shower without help. Freedom can mean sleeping 4 hours straight. Freedom can mean one day without a flare. And if you're listening right now and you felt this jealousy, this envy, this resentment, I want you to know it's okay to admit it. It's human. Pain takes enough from us. Stop pretending we don't feel this too. Stop adding guilt on top of suffering. You're allowed to be jealous. You're allowed to grieve. You're allowed to resent the unfairness of it all. And you're also allowed to use that feeling as fuel, to let it show you what you value, to let it push you toward your own version of living. Because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to survive in bodies that feel like battlegrounds. And jealousy, it's just another weapon in our arsenal. Thanks for listening to Painfully Real. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your feelings are valid, your pain is real, and you're not alone in this. I'll see you next time.